papers like it spelled my doom, but I've got a soul that can't diagnose. I've walked through fire and I'm still close to everything I'm meant to be, not just what they see. I'm not my diagnosis, I'm not their doubt. I've got a voice and I'm gonna shout. I've got dreams that won't be tamed, I've got joy they can't explain. So don't you write my story yet. I'm more than limits and regret. I'm still rising year by year. I'm not my diagnosis, I'm still here. Some days hurt, some days shine, but I've made peace with this heart of mine. I've got cracks, but they let light in. That's where the strength begins. No shame in being real, that's how I heal. I'm not my diagnosis, I'm not their doubt. I've got a voice and I'm gonna shout. I've got dreams that won't be tamed.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Person Behind the Pen. I am Nick, the founder of Guiding Brilliant Writers Publishing, and I welcome you to today's episode. So, I am looking at that intro and I am just horrified. I really need to update that. The book is published. The book we're going to speak about today, it still says launch date. And talk about the merch one. So the merch one, just so you know, we have summer tanks out and we now have a new item, a leather-bound journal to start or continue your writing journey. Okay, but we all know how it is when you're a solopreneur. You're kind of like an octopus. I would love to know in the comments who else out there is going through this. Please raise your hand. Oh, wait, you cannot raise your hand. This is live, not Zoom. All right, so just put a thumbs up in the comments if you are a solopreneur. I promise I am not calling you an octopus. Let's get started. So I want to share a couple of quick things about what's happening with Guiding Brilliant Writers. We have some cool stuff on the way, but we're a pretty cool company, right? These stigma-breaking books are what we are truly all about. And when we do have solo authors that come to us, we put everything behind them as we put everything behind our anthology writers. So, up next is Between Bells, Lessons Learned Beyond the Books. I am actually very excited because there is a teacher backstage right now and one that actually developed a program as well for, around education. And there is another here who actually teaches medical students. So when I start to consider today's panel, I am extremely excited. I find a lot of overlap when people choose to step forward and share their stories when it comes to breaking stigmas. It doesn't matter what the theme is. The general theme is to help better educate the public and to make things simpler for everyone, right? So Between Bells is coming up soon. Look out for that launch date. This is a group of youngsters, ages 13 to 17, that are kicking off their writing journey and becoming publishers, many of them before they do their applications for college. Okay, so I'm going to take this opportunity to run a short video, and this one is about what's coming, or rather what's starting next, which is this Saturday. We kick off the project of Men, Money, and Mental Health. This is still within the sphere of mental health and stigmas, because unfortunately, 80% of the suicide rate are men. And so this ties in, and I thank you for giving me a moment to take a look at this video.
Hang on to all little things. Hang on to all little things. One day I'll turn around, you won't be
Oh goodness, so this is what happens when you try to do your own videos. That last slide got really messed up, didn't it? So that says join today. The author's call ends this Friday, the 26th. There is still time to join these 9 incredible men that are stepping up to share their story. One of the most powerful things that we can do if it is our desire to help bring change. Okay, so I thank you all. I see so many of you out there. I can't even keep up with the comments. Gabe, thank you so much for tuning in from Cabo. I suspect you might be here because there's a beautiful lady backstage you might be related to. Kenny Dunner, welcome, welcome. That's a Junie like myself. And speaking of another Junie, here is Will. Will, big hi to you. Will is celebrating his birthday on Friday. Please go to his page, check it out. He actually is doing a live event and may have some pretty cool announcements. I want to give a big shout out to Felipe Cofino, who's going to be doing the forward for Men, Money, and Mental Health. And I want to make sure that I say hello to Jackie and to thank you for your, I don't even know what to say. You underwent an operation to give someone a kidney. And now you're a single kidney person and you just saved a life. So there's tons more that I want to share, but this show needs to get started. So with that, let's start bringing up, I have 3 of the co-authors of We Choose to Be More Than Our Diagnoses, Volume 2. I could not be more proud of this group of authors. I have to say, not only were they on point with doing what they needed to do to hit their deadlines, they were so very open to working with me on things like story development. But most importantly, they are not backseat drivers. And a publishing company is not the taxi cab driver. You are in the passenger seat with me. And together, we bring your book to the world. They have not stopped talking about their book, like everywhere. And this group has highlighted each other beyond anything I've seen. They are reading each other's stories. They are sharing that DM chat that we have that usually like closes up a couple of weeks after a launch. Oh no, that's a busy, busy, busy one because they are supporting each other way beyond this project. So with that, I am going to bring up Dr. Gretchen Holmes. You know what? I'm just going to bring her up on stage. Hello, my friend. How are you?
Doing well. How are you, Nick?
I am good. Loving that sunshiny yellow that you're wearing.
Yes.
It's
Thank you.
gloom and doom in New York for the last 2 days, but I refuse to get upset. I mean, we had the most gorgeous weekend. And I wouldn't say that I'm burnt, but I'm crisp. And so hopefully over these couple of days, I will become soggy is not really a good term, is it? But the weekend is great, and I end right back up there and get crispy again. So my Trinidadian blood, I get very, very brown. So by the end of summer, I'm going to be very, very brown.
Well, it's very crispy here too. So lots of humidity, lots of heat. So don't come to Houston. It's hot and miserable.
Oh goodness. So you see, here's the thing. Houston, that's Texas, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
right. I'm asking this like a dodo head. But Yvette's in Texas. But here's the thing.
Mhm.
I keep telling people, oh, this person's here and this person's there in your state. States are huge.
Yes. Yes. Some of them very, very big. Yes.
Oh goodness. So tell me, today is exactly 2 weeks since the book was released. Where are you today as compared to launch day? Has anything changed for you? Are you feeling any differently? Or are you, still riding the wave of, or have things kind of just settled down? Where are you with all of this?
Well, so I'm always excited when I publish. I published my own book a couple years ago, and I'm still riding that wave, by the way. And was in another book about 6 months ago, and I'm still really happy with the work I put in there. And in this case, I feel the same way, right? Because anytime you uh, put your heart out there and you allow yourself to be vulnerable, and you do it because you want to help people. You want people to understand they're not alone, that what they're going through is not particularly unique, that there's hope and there's a way forward, and to not feel so alone. And so I think anytime we're doing that, I mean, it's why we do it, right? I mean, it is weird. The first time I published anything personal, it was awkward. And I thought, I didn't mind my family knowing some of these secrets, but it sure made me think twice about like all my work colleagues. I'm like, my boss is going to read all this stuff about, I'm like, do I really want him to know these things? And I went, well, you don't get to pick and choose who reads your book or your chapter. And I thought, nope, you're either going to throw it all out there and let the universe take it, or don't do it at all. And so I'm always really excited because, people tend to respond, and they do feel like maybe we're telling their story too. And so that always makes me feel good.
That's something that I've said before. When you read these anthologies, you will see yourself in the pages of this book in one way or another. And, with 12 writers plus myself, you are going to find at least one chapter you're going to resonate with, if not more.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of a collective, right? It offers more than a single author book. And a single author book is great for certain things.
Yep.
But when you're talking about, goodness gracious, a tsunami is what we're trying to create here. It's kind of like what washes everything clean again. So now that you've read, several, I'm sure, of the chapters from your co-authors, was there one in particular that, struck a chord with you? And if so, why?
Sure. I mean, they all are special, of course, which I think is which is why we all have stayed very much connected, right? We're always talking on LinkedIn and staying connected. But I will say, I have such an admiration for Jacob.
Yes.
And I was looking at Heidi's story the other day, and the thing that resonates so deeply, because I'll be honest, I didn't know that much about autism. I just didn't. It's not been that much in my experience. Is how, I don't think people realize how hard they work at sometimes navigating the world, right? I mean, sometimes it's obvious, but I don't think people really see deep down everything they're doing to just get through and navigate things that many of us maybe take for granted, right? And the perseverance, the intelligence, the humor, the grace, I mean, all of those things I really have enjoyed. In fact, I was on Jacob's show that he put out the other day, and I had such a wonderful time getting to know this young man. And I just have really been humbled by their stories and how honest they've been, because most of us look at people's outsides and we think we know what's going on in the inside. We judge how they move through the world, and we think we understand everything, but we don't. We don't understand any of it, to be honest. And so I've just really enjoyed the chapters where they really give us that brutally honest inside view of everything. And and the hope that you get it, by reading their stories. Everybody's doing great. They've taken whatever it is they're having to deal with, and they are using it as their passion, and such amazing things are happening, and they're making amazing things happen. So I really enjoyed those two stories for sure.
Thank you for sharing that and saying that they're doing great. We're all doing great. And
Yeah.
the best part about this is we're redefining great. Okay, great is we're living with our diagnosis every day. We're figuring out ways to make it actually work for us
Yeah.
in a way that we can live a purpose. So I appreciate you sharing that. And Jacob is an amazing young man. So I am curious, dear audience, of whom I see 10, 15 people out there. So I know you're there. You better be listening. Yes, I did just say that on live, dressed all professionally. I want to know whose chapter you read that resonated the most in the book, and give me a one-liner of why, because I know most of you all in the audience bought the book. All right, so thank you so much. Gretchen,
Yes.
tell me a little bit about Gretchen. Gretchen, beyond the scale does not define my words. Like Gretchen, beyond the person that, faced stigmas in terms of dealing with being overweight. Who is Gretchen? Because that's just a part of Gretchen.
Yeah. So the short version of this is I'm a 3-time cancer survivor, and which has, obviously defined part of my journey. Was diagnosed diabetic in 2021, and then proceeded to lose a whole bunch of weight. I'm an associate dean in a medical school, which I love. And that's, I highly recommend this book to medical students and nursing students and resident physicians. I talk to them all the time about they've really got to get out and understand people's experiences and how they live in the world, not just looking at their charts, that they've got to understand what these things, what their diagnoses mean, and then look beyond them. Because I think we all want our physicians to be compassionate, patient-centered physicians. And so that's a big part of the reason why I even wrote the chapter. But I grew up in Michigan, and I've been in graduate medical education for like 15 years. And so what I do is I start residency programs. So if you want to become a family physician, you have to do extra training, or a surgeon. I start those programs, I oversee them, and I make sure they stay accredited, and watch a lot of physicians graduate and go on to independent practice. And so that's what I've been doing for about 15 years. And I've been a social scientist for over 20 years. So I've been in the health space for a long time. But, I'm married, I have grandkids, and life is good. I think that there's a lot of nuance and color to my life. And while I've had a lot of ups and downs, my both parents and both brothers have passed. Even the grief journey has had its I wouldn't say benefits, but it certainly has helped me become more aware of things in the world. So, I, like everybody else, very multidimensional.
Yes, we certainly are. So I don't know if this is something that you're allowed to do. I have no clue. But if you can think of 5 of your residency students that this book would greatly benefit, because as you say, and it's important, there is not just a clinical aspect. And Dr. Steve Hudgens, who wrote our foreword, did a beautiful job explaining that, that you look at a chart and that person becomes what's written on the chart.
That's right.
So much more than that. So I would love to, on behalf of Guiding Brilliant Writers, to ship you 5 of the books. And please feel free to pass them out to someone that you know within the scope of what you do that you feel it would benefit the most.
Oh, that's
Um,
so generous. That's so generous.
yes.
We have 12 new residents starting this week. And I think I will use them as gifts and for whatever things we've got going on in the next month or so. And I'll make sure that they get handed out. That's very generous. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You have 12 books, so let's get that to you. And by all means, have them read it. Ask them to leave a review. And they are going to learn so much more about you as well.
Yeah.
And that is huge when you are looking up to someone and looking to someone to learn. Understanding them on a personal level really helps to build that bond, I believe.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and wrap up with this question.
Yeah.
And I think it's the one that is probably the most important to all of us. And you reminded me of that backstage. What are a couple of things that you really want to drive home message-wise with your chapter that anybody that read it, you want them to take this with them?
Sure. So the most important thing I want people to understand is that whatever the scale says, that is one tiny, tiny part of who you are. Just it, and it is an incredible. I don't care how much you weigh. It is such a minute part of who you are, of your story. Yet we all tended to focus on that, right? That's how we focused in our own lives ourselves, and that's what we let other people focus on. And I think what we all have to learn how to do is understand that it does not define who we are as a sister or a mother or a teacher or a sibling or a friend or a member of a community or anything. It doesn't tell, that number doesn't tell anybody about your experiences and what you love and what you hate and what your life looks like and your highs and lows. It is just a measure of the pull of gravity. So while it's important to be healthy, we all know that.
Yeah.
That number should not dictate the kind of day we have. It should not dictate whether we allow ourselves to experience joy or whether we should take on a new challenge. That we have to get it out of our own way, right? Because here's the biggest thing I learned during all of my life of being obese or morbidly obese. The person who got in my way the very most was me.
Yes.
Not everybody else. It was me. And until I finally went and realized I am worthy no matter what that number says, that I am loved no matter what that number says, then everything changed because I took the power away from that. And then it didn't matter to me what anybody said, but the power lies internally. It has nothing to do with the people out there who we think is what's holding us back. They are not holding us back. We're holding us
Very true. So very true. And to end on that note is wonderful because a big part of my journey here on LinkedIn itself actually started with me embracing my bipolarness in a very public way. And that spiraled into everything, spirals down, right? Okay. That climbed to everything that, and I'm seeing Yvette backstage going like this. Yeah, climb.
Yeah.
To everything that has occurred in the last few years and how it is Guiding Brilliant Writers came to be. So
but don't you think it gave you, when you did that, you took the power?
Yes, I did.
You did not keep giving your bipolar disorder the power. You've got it now. And that's everything we need to do, because then it changes how we treat ourselves.
That is so absolutely right. And just to back up what you said, Chris Pinadell is sharing that I work in medical sales, explaining the social burden of a diagnosis to someone who strictly thinks clinically is huge. And thank you very much for sharing that within the realm of what you do, because sometimes we can only speak about it here on stage from our experience, but you are out there dealing with it in terms of transaction with the people that you work with. So Gretchen, thank you so very much for being here, for participating in the project, for all the support that you give to your authors. And I know that this is a lifelong project because we are here to do something.
Yeah.
So
It's been such an honor, Nick. I truly, some of the most amazing people on this book. And thank you for everything that you have done and
pleasure.
you continue to do. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so I have to tell you, if you did not get the book, and after listening to just one of our 3 guests tonight, I know that you're thinking to yourself, why didn't I buy that book? Well, you can. The QR code, nope, not the one that's next to me that scans or emails to work with Nick. You can do that too. But the one above me, left or right, whichever, scan that, get the book, read it, go back to Amazon, leave a review. In fact, why don't you reach out to the author that touched you the most in that book? Because witnessing someone is the most beautiful gift that you can give, and it costs nothing. All right, so with that, I see that my beautiful, engaging audience, I've been throwing out questions to you out there, and I'm getting lovely comments, but no answers. No answers. So here's my question once again. Which chapter did you read in the book that resonated with you the most, and why? All right, so let's bring up our next guest. Our next guest is no stranger to our community. Her name is Leigh Scheidel. Wow. Again, I'm not going to go into any long bios about anybody. We're going to speak directly to them, and you're going to learn all you need to know about them. Hello, how are you?
How are you?
Good. You are so adorable. You are in your shirt. You have been in your shirt whenever you have been interviewed about this book. And I could share this. So I got a message from Leah that says, I love this shirt so much. I just ordered it in red and green. Is that right?
That's right.
Oh my goodness. I hear you. So I have a couple, and I wear them every single week. And so I'm knocking around, and I go to pick up my meds in CVS, and I'm at the counter wearing it, and there's just something so freeing, but also empowering at the same time to be able to wear that, because unless people talk to you, they're not really going to know anything about you. And that shirt has actually had people stop, yes, and ask me about what does that mean. And so I've been able to have brief conversations. When you're on the grocery line, you got to keep moving. But, I've been able to have brief conversations with that. So tell me, my friend, how are you doing? What's going on Leigh's end?
Well, I am talking to a lot of people about the book. That's been very, very exciting. I think because this is something I have always wanted to do, was be a part of a book at least, or write my own book. And so I feel proud that I took that step and really reached out to be vulnerable. And the vulnerability isn't so much about telling my story. It's about connecting with other people who feel like they might be alone, or that somebody else doesn't understand them because their circumstances are so different. And I want people to know that there's a lot of people out there that haven't walked your journey, but they understand.
Yes.
And they want to help each other. A lot
Yes.
of them want to help each other.
I love that you shared that the vulnerability part wasn't so much about sharing your story in terms of what you're dealing with, but it's the flip side of that, because there are people out there who are not living with your exact diagnosis, that are in fact feeling very alone. And when you stop to consider that many, and I've had people reach out to me, when I first started coming out about this, because it was new to them. They were recently diagnosed. They're reaching out asking me, how do I tell my family? How do I tell my job? I'm still very upset about it. I don't know what to think about this. And no matter the diagnosis, stories like yours simply give people some identification, right? That they are not existing alone in this world with what's happening to them. So, Leigh, thank you so much. It's exactly 2 weeks since the book launched. I mean, what are you experiencing emotionally? Are you like the same as when you launched? Are you like, you know, over it? Are you? I don't think you're over it because you were just on Yvette's show last Friday, blowing it up, which she did a wonderful job first time hosting. Like, seriously, you know how long it took me to get here, Yvette? So, Leigh, tell me, how are you feeling now? Like, do you think this is something you would do again? It doesn't seem like you regret to doing it.
I don't regret it at all. I would eventually like to write my memoirs because the story really is quite long, and the many circumstances I've overcome have just been like a continuous process. And I think the bottom line for me, what I've learned most from all of it, is that it comes down to our mindset.
Yes.
It's how I'm willing to look at it, and I can change how I feel about it based on the perspective I'm willing to take on the circumstances. One of the fun things for me was I posted on Nextdoor about this book and
Yes.
explained
Correct.
that it wasn't just all people dealing with mental health issues, but there were other things as well. And this one lady got into a conversation with me, and she was telling me about her MS and how she
Mhm.
felt so alone, and like there weren't enough other people that she could relate to, that she could get information from. And I was telling her how there was actually a person in the book who
Right.
had a
Really.
story around this. And next thing I know, we had another sale. So she,
Exactly.
I'm
So,
hoping she'll do a review for us as well. And I think she probably will when she finishes.
you know what? I see you very active on Facebook. I see all the interaction that's coming because of this. And I know in the comments, actually, was it in the comments? Quite a few people said that they bought the book. And I remember you also telling me um, somebody reached out about where they could get the shirt. So, you know, these are the things that the action that you have to take if it is that you want to keep making a difference. Making a difference doesn't happen in 3 months. You know, it might take 3 months to do a book project, but it's going to take the rest of your life if you really and truly, your goal is to leave a legacy, and not for people, but in people. And that is what we're here to do. So, uh, tell me what or who is Lee. I have the privilege of knowing quite a bit. I think the audience, is going to be just completely overjoyed to learn so much about you because there is so much about Lee other than her writing in this book.
Well, I started out in the military for work. That was the first thing I did. And actually, that's not true when I think about it. The first thing I did was throw papers at 12. So I actually started working really young as, quote, an entrepreneur. They didn't call us that back then, but really a newspaper person is an entrepreneur. So went on, did other things, mowing lawns and such, and went into the military. I've come a long way since then. I've learned a lot about mental health problems, how it expresses itself in the world.
Mhm.
And I really, really connected with two different people in the book. Yvette, who is a bipolar teacher, and she will be speaking here soon. And I really think we have struck up quite a friendship because I think we
Yes.
feel so identified as very similar in some strong, significant ways.
Hmm.
And the other one I really connected with was Joe Colin. And it wasn't because I had the same kind of experiences as him, but I did get my diagnosis much older in my life, much further on in my life. And I think that that brings a whole different dynamics into your story, because a lot of us build out as the sense of who we are isn't just the beingness of who we are, it's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're diagnosed late in life, suddenly everything is changing for you, and it's changing really fast.
Yeah.
And I could really relate to that with him. And his experience was totally different, but
Yeah.
it had that bottom chord that was real similar to my own.
It put so much into perspective for him, because so much before wasn't explained. And I kind of feel that way too, that you're asking yourself, why do I behave this way? Like, I know I don't want to behave this way, but yet I can't seem to help myself. It's geez, yes, it's mindset, but oh my goodness, the battle that goes on in your mind, knowing that this is not the way you want to act, but you are acting this way. And then you go through this 10, 20, 30 years, and the diagnosis actually feels like a relief, because now there's some context for it. Now there's something somewhat tangible that you can begin to address.
Yes,
So I
I felt like
really,
because I finally knew what the diagnosis was, I felt like I could put some control in there. Whereas
Mhm.
before, like you're saying, you don't understand why you're doing what you're doing, but without understanding it all, there's no control. There's
Mhm.
no there's no being able to stand back and look at it objectively so that you can make very aware choices, being mindful of other
Yes.
people.
And here we go with the aware choices. And like, how on earth do you make aware choices if you aren't aware of what is happening to you? You know, so I am really enjoying this conversation. There's just so much packed into it, so much coming out. And as you can see, these guests live with different diagnoses, and some of us live with similar diagnoses or the same diagnoses. But what some of you may not understand is there is bipolar 2 and there is bipolar 1. And bipolar 1 is usually associated with the mania, which it's not just these terrible mood swings and moments of depression. Bipolar 2, you tend to get more of the depression. Bipolar 1, you get more of the mania. And when you fall into depression is when that spike plunges. And during that spike, you are almost like an amnesiac. You don't even know what it is you are doing, far less for trying to be aware and proactive about it. So, Lei, you were telling us a bit about you, and my goodness, it seems that you had entrepreneurship in your blood from 12, throwing newspapers at people's houses. And so, why don't you tell us a bit about what it is that you do now? Because that entrepreneurship blood has actually sickened.
It has. And I do video production now. That's my thrill. And I have three different types of videos that I really enjoy doing the most. And one of them is production of product videos and I like to use not so much the concept of selling it as to present it to you, show it to you, how does it work, and why would it be worthwhile in your life kind of videos.
Yep.
Then the next thing I like are what we call business cards. And it's basically a video version of who you are, what you do, and why you do it. And again, it's not sales. And I think I really like these things that aren't salesy, because for me, I want to help the person put their best foot forward and to speak the voice to their audience, so that person, all those persons watching, know who that person is before they actually decide to go do business with them. And the last thing I like to do are legacy videos. And I've done 1 2-hour documentary for a gentleman who was in politics, And that was quite a production. It was a big thing. I was the director. I did all the producing. I had somebody else help me with all the filming. I brought in all the B-roll, all the music, and put the whole over 2 hour production together. That was a wonderful thing. The next project I really want to do will be related to mental health awareness. And I feel a really strong draw to help break the stigma, because there are so many of us out there that are sharing our stories. We're successful people. We've worked hard to overcome the difficulties and the labels that we're given and how other people perceive us because of those labels. So it's really important to me to get the stories out there of other people that have been successful as well.
I don't even know where to start. Like, first of all, the business card thing, I think we might need to talk. Especially given my position, I have to reach out to people individually to let them know that an offer is coming to write. And I have learned that, you do business with people you know, like, and trust. And if I'm approaching someone who knows me, wonderful. But if they know of me, but not very much of me, because let's say they don't engage with me a lot on social media, they don't follow my content, etc., something like a business card video gets them to see, hear, and observe your body language, right? Because at the end of the day, we could all act, but unless you're like Hollywood act, you're not going to be able to pull it off. Okay, not for every single second on the video. Which brings me to the fact that now Leah is doing legacy videos, because this is where she can, in fact, guide you on what you need to do, because that legacy video is going to be left for all your future generations. So you know who to reach out to. And yes, plug the 4th annual Legacy Chronicles is publishing this year, right? My story is my legacy. And that co-author school just opened, and we're going to be launching in time for you to be able to have your books for Christmas. So, Leah, I do believe we need to talk, and this is how collaboration come out of so many things, including starting a book project, because maybe now a la carte item is being able to do your legacy video with Leah. All right. This has been absolutely wonderful. I have more questions, but I also have to bring Yvette up. And this is what happens, right? The conversation is so good that the time flies. You aren't even thinking about it. Thank you, my friend. And we will be chatting very soon because, well, we got some collaborating to do.
Thank you so much for having me. You've done such a wonderful job in the publishing and the marketing and everything, and making everybody feel like a family.
Yay.
Thank you.
That's exactly what I want. All the writers to feel as if they're under the umbrella of the Guiding Brilliant Writers Publishing family. All right, Leah, I'll talk to you very soon. Bye. How awesome is she? Really? From Gretchen to Leah to, are you ready? Are you ready to go to Cabo, Mexico? Because this is where our next co-author is chilling on her honeymoon. To somebody in the audience who says he's thinking whether or not he should buy the book. Well, I hate to tell you this, but she already ordered 30 co-authors copies. So maybe if you cook her a nice dinner, she'll give you one. I swear I should have been a comedian. I make myself laugh.
Oh, you still have time. You still have time.
Oh, goodness. That comes from talking to yourself a lot and then laughing at the things you say a lot.
Yes.
So then you just get really comfortable just saying things.
Right.
Girl, how are you? I haven't seen that sunshine. Is that sunshine behind you?
It is. And we had planned on being a little closer outside, but the mosquitoes all of a sudden started swarming. They heard I was here from Texas, and I think they just took flight to get here, because I get chewed up in Texas all the time.
Oh God, I am laughing because okay. So I am laughing because now, because the weather is rainy, and I am trying to take advantage of the summer and work outside, because I go nuts in the wintertime being stuck in the house. but I can't work outside. But I am, however, of course, running outside to have a cigarette. And if I find like a little dry spot on the stoop and I decide to put my butt down, the gnats, I can't even see them because they are not. But I could feel them landing all over me. And I'm like,
Are they just landing like for comfort, or do they sting you over there too?
comfort. They're trying to comfort me.
They're just showing you some love, Nick.
Get the hell out of here. They certainly comforted me. And the worst part about it is I decided to look up like a natural way to get rid of these things. Like, so I mix coconut oil with drops of peppermint oil or spearmint oil or eucalyptus oil, and I put it all over my skin. Now, does it work? Not really. That might explain why I'm so crisp. So, anyway, so I'm right there with you. And I tease my husband because he drinks beer, right? So I told him, they don't bite you because you have alcohol in your blood. I'm like, you think they wouldn't bite me because I have nicotine in mine? I'm like, what? Like, whatever. Anyway, we could be yapping here for the whole time till 7 and like not talk about the book. So I need to calm down. I'll drink some water. Why don't you tell us all about Yvette?
Okay, we'll start there. So I am a teacher. I am a mother. I have a stepchild from a previous marriage, and then I have 4 additional stepchildren with my new husband, which most of you guys know in the audience, and thank you so much for showing up. So with Gabe Leal, he has 4 children, so I've brought those on to my additional 3. So together we have 7 kids. And I'm a photographer as well. So when I'm not teaching, I have my name out there, and mostly like I get like references from family or friends that have used me as a photographer before. So I'll get referrals, and I'll take jobs during the summer, sometimes during the school year, to make that supplemental income. And then now I'm a new co-author. I just something that has always been a dream of mine since I was little. So it's been really amazing getting to this point. And yes, I do have bipolar, and it is bipolar 1. So like Nick was explaining, with bipolar 1, we go woo, like super, 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 super high. And the first time that ever happened to me was later in life. So it happened when I was 41. So the first time I escalated to another galaxy. And I really thought it was a diet I was on. So I was starting to lose weight again and was feeling great. And all of a sudden this burst of energy. And when I would question it and ask other people, they were like, oh, it's keto. Keto gives you energy. So I didn't understand what was happening to me at the time.
Yeah, it is a thing, right? That when we start to experience things, we always have to have an explanation, right? And circumstantially, it's easy to connect it to something that's going on in your life. Why would you think that it could be something that has been affecting you, and is now exacerbated by something else, and it's just now really showing itself. And that's where I see the co-authors, all of you, chatting with each other about, we're talking Jacob's the youngest at just 16. And, we go all the way up to almost 80. So diagnoses don't discriminate. The nuances that we feel every day, just based on the reaction of complete strangers. So far less for the people that you believe love you and you trust. And the best way we can handle it is to not get angry, but continue to find a way to educate. And I feel that that's what this book does. I feel this is what your story did. And it aligns so much because you are, in fact, an educator. Um, so I see this, goodness gracious, being helpful to you in so very many ways. And I want to thank you for going live for the first time, doing a beautiful job hosting. And what did you do? You had one of your co-authors on. I mean, like, how awesome is that? You know, as time goes by, when we do live shows and we host, you know, people are always looking for guests. I need a guest to bring on. I need a guest to bring on. You now have so many options. So for like the next 12 weeks, you are so good to go as you learn. And, you know, there's a double fun about that, which is you get to highlight what we are doing here. So, Yvette, what is the message, like the big, hairy, in your face message you want somebody to take away from this book, like it's engraved on their heart?
Hope. Hope. One word. Hope. Because I think, like, for most of my life, anytime I was faced with a challenge or an obstacle, I could use my brain to figure out and how to fix a situation. I would problem solve. I would think. I would get out of like so many things. Okay, this isn't working. I'm going to try this. And I figured out life that way, like overcoming so many obstacles in my life. And it's why I always wanted to write a memoir before getting the diagnosis of bipolar. That was a goal to achieve of mine. And then when I hit, like you said, with bipolar 1, you go to the moon, okay? You're going to also sink down to the core of the earth. Like you drop low. And this is where I would try to talk to people about the depression I was facing. I was like, what is this? Like, I've never experienced this. And I had to question it again because I had to fix it. So I was like asking people, like, what is it? And they were like, oh, I've had depression before, but never like that. Oh, I've been depressed before, but not like that. And I'm like, no, I'm telling you, like, I just want to be anybody else but myself. I don't want to be here. I want to go to sleep and never wake up. And it's not something I've ever imagined would come across me. And so I needed hope. That's all I needed. I just needed hope so that I could figure out how to problem solve. And I didn't have it. And I searched and I searched. And for the first depression I hit, I couldn't find that hope. Even Googling it, couldn't find the hope. And then when I finally started going back up, you know, of course, I went up and then I hit another high.
Yep.
And then when I came down the second time, I said, you know what? This is my hope. I freaking survived that. I survived that major depression where I didn't want to be alive. I got through it the first time. I'm going to show people that hope is a possibility, that you can survive this. And not only that, I've gone back to school. I have my master's degree now. And a lot of people think that once they go down, that life is over. You're never going to find the love of your life. You're never going to achieve this. All your dreams are shattered. You lose everything at rock bottom. And there's no way out of it. And sadly, a lot of people that have bipolar commit suicide. Like the suicide risk is extremely high. And not only that, like I've known so many people that have attempted.
Yes.
And yeah, and you know, one of our co-authors.
And I've been there.
Yeah. And so I knew that going into it, but the part of my brain that was the fighter didn't give up. That fighting side of my brain, I said, no matter, you know, if I have to yell at myself to get in that shower to get to work, I'm going to do it. And I had to fight a million times harder the first go around, especially because I thought God didn't exist anymore.
Oh my goodness. You see, there is so much packed into what you just said. You know, I feel very emotional because how do you tell your loved ones that I really just want to stop breathing? It's been 3 days you're laying in a bed. You haven't eaten. You haven't showered. You haven't brushed your teeth. You haven't gotten out of bed. The pillowcase is stiff from all the tears, more tears, dry, and you really just don't want to be here anymore. And like, how do you even look at people that you love and say that? You know the pain that you're inflicting, but yet you are completely numb. And the bouts of anger and aggression that came out of nowhere, and it was just very confusing for people because, well, supposedly I'm a bull in a china shop, but people have actually told me I'm pretty empathetic. So I don't know which one I am. I guess it depends on which pole I am that day, north, south. But it's just between you, Joe, and Lee, I learned so much more about my bipolarness. And then from all the other authors, I learned so much about, yeah, there are moments I feel very alone too. Just because I'm breaking stigmas doesn't mean that I too don't feel stigmatized from time to time. And I do it to myself. So, Yvette, just
Yes.
amazing. Just Yvette, because just I wish I could just reach through the camera and hug you.
Well, we're gonna have to take a trip to New York. So
That's the next.
we're becoming travelers now that we're in Mexico. We're like, we got to do this again. So especially meeting other co-authors, like we've got to figure out a way to start traveling.
Well, the goal is to have our first book signing, Guiding Brilliant Writers book signing in New York before the end of this year.
Ooh.
So, yep, that's something for us certainly to look forward to. Well, we have a couple of minutes to wrap up. I'm sorry that we didn't get more time, but I know you are where you are, and I totally want you to enjoy what's going on down there. And I guess the last thing I want to ask you is what's coming? What's coming? I mean, like any more could come right now. I mean, published
Well,
a book 2 weeks ago, hosting her first live show. This girl took a hobby that was photography and turned it into a side hustle. Oh, wait, I did that too. There we go. Another thing in common. What's going on for
oh
you?
yeah.
What's up next?
Well, I feel like I resonated so much with all of the co-authors, and like Leia said, like we really have clicked. And it's why I wanted, her to come on my first like hosting live stream. And some of the other authors like Gretchen, with the weight loss, I went through the same thing and battled with the same thoughts in my mind. My 20s, I lost over 100 pounds, and I was a spokesperson for that. I was on 3 infomercials. I was in a magazine. Like I was headed like so, and I would promote that and tell people and help people lose weight. And then when I hit the down of gaining everything back and going through my whole life, like I feel like now it's coming back up because, well, if you read my chapter, you'll see one of the reasons at the end of the chapter. But then also, just that ability to be able to motivate people again in a different way, in a personal way, has helped me in the classroom. So it's helped me become a better teacher with my students. It's now like I'm wanting to do it more online. And the crazy thing is, like, when I was going through my first mania, I wanted this. I wanted the ability to help people around the world. I wanted that so bad, but I was trying to do it so fast.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it was at hyper speed, and then I crashed. And for a while I thought I didn't have the value or the ability or capability of doing it. But now, since doing this book, a lot of that internal motivation to do it is there, except I'm not on the super high, so I'm more stable and clear minded to be able to move forward in a normal way. Like
Right?
I'm not,
Quote unquote normal way. You know what?
the normal, which I don't like being classified as normal either. I love the fact that I'm different and have these different abilities, I call them, and a different perspective in the way that I look at this illness. But I think that now I have that ability to be able to do that because I can do it and reach people on their normal level so that they get it clear. Because when you're up here real high trying to explain something like this, People aren't going to listen. You talk too
Yeah.
fast.
Yep.
You need to slow down.
You're hysterical.
Talking too fast.
So we're going to end with, I love Chris's comment, and I absolutely agree. Yvette Leal's laughter is a natural antidepressant. Gabe Leal is a lucky man. Gabe Leal is probably in the background there, even though he is on here jokingly. Yeah, see, I knew it. And I was going to be like, he better show his face for a minute. He's, if I thought that I was a comedian, he is such a clown. In the best possible way, because I actually don't like clowns. But I like him, just to clarify. So please, guys and gals, scan that QR code up there. There's somebody trolling you, Yvette. Scan that QR code up there and get a copy of We Choose to Be More Than Our Diagnoses, Volume 2. We are sharing our stories to break stigmas. And when you purchase this book, you add your voice as well to the pages in this book. It means a great deal to us. It means a great deal to me. I see so many Guiding Brilliant Writers fans out there. And I know being a fan of Guiding Brilliant Writers simply means that you too understand that we need to leave a legacy, not for people, but in people. And that is what we are all doing. So Yvette, I'm going to bring you backstage. Just hang out for a minute. I'll be right there.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, wait. No, I knew there was something else I wanted to say.
Oh.
So I am going to very rudely invite myself on your show as your co-author, because this conversation needs to continue, because I think that people desperately need to not just hear of the symptoms, but you actually need to walk through some of the situations that we have been in and the things that we've actually done and what has resulted because of that. Okay? Because this happened, and my ex, I had him cuffed and taken away to a hospital. So there is so much that can still be shared. So anyway, let me bring you backstage.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Okay, this was a bloody awesome show. If you were here, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you take some stuff away from it. I hope you go share with other people to look at this episode and to buy the book. So as I'm wrapping up, I am going to run one more time the promo for what is coming by Guiding Brilliant Writers Publishing next, which is in September, Suicide Awareness Month. And this book is an open invitation until Friday. So if this is something that you believe you would be interested in, reach out to me ASAP. Let's chat. I'm going to run this, and then we're going to end the stream. And thank you so much again for being here.